Here, I'll be presenting the case on Poland syndrome. The clinical details given to me were a photograph of a female, and it was showing the frontal profile photo extending from the neck to the umbilical region. Based on the photo, I would like to describe the photo like this. The left breast appears normal with well-defined nipple areola complex. Right side, the breast mound is not seen, and the nipple areola complex is smaller, higher, and laterally deviated compared to the left side. Also, when I extrapolated from the mid-clavicular line, the nipple areola complex appears to be deviated laterally. The ribs on the right side appear to be they're visible. They may be slightly protuberant. The supraclavicular area appears normal. The anterior axillary folds or bilaterally appear normal, and the forearms and the hands we are not able to see in this photograph. The abdominal muscles are well defined, with the muscle contour is well defined. The rest of the abdomen appears normal. Based on this, based on the photographic findings, my diagnosis would be a deformity of the right breast in a young female with a differential diagnosis of right hypoplastic breast, Poland syndrome, or right amasia. How will I proceed in this case? I would like to know the the details of the patient, the name, age, gender, the address, and the comorbidities. I would go ahead with the chief complaints, which if she had presented at birth, for a Poland syndrome, there would be a chest wall deformity or hand anomalies, and at puberty, we will have deformity of the breast. I would also like to know the antenatal, perinatal, and the postnatal history of this patient. We want to rule out other congenital anomalies. The history of presenting illness, the rib cage deformity may be present since birth. The hand anomalies are usually seen since birth. Other congenital anomalies may be associated with delay in the developmental milestones. So that history needs to be elicited. In this patient, there is inadequate breast development after puberty, and this patient has a small nipple areola complex, but sometimes the nipple areola complex might be absent also. The other things I would like to know are the reduced axillary hair growth, the secondary sexual characteristics when they have developed, and how are they, and the facial symmetry to rule out Mobius syndrome. In the past history, if the patient was admitted for any other comorbidities or any other treatment that was done in the past for this specific condition, the family history of similar complaints in the siblings or any other family members, and personal history, especially in a young female, they might have some psychosocial problems, specifically body dysmorphic syndrome or body image abnormality. So I would like to know about that. Then coming to the examination, the general examination, the build and the how the patient is based on the high mental functions, and also the vitals of the patient. And head-to-toe examination is vital, especially in a syndromic case. So I would like to know examine all of that. And in this patient specifically, I would also like to know generalized lymphadenopathy, because it is associated with Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Doctor,
local examination.
Dr. Reddy?
Yes, sir.
Sorry to disturb you just for a moment. You're flowing very nicely, and I hope you don't mind interrupting that.
Yes, sir.
Go back to your previous slide if you can, please.
Yes, sir.
The one before. The one before. Yeah, you said about family history. Is this a condition running in family?
Yes, it is not described, but other congenital anomalies might be associated. And they might, like Mobius syndrome is familial, and it might be associated. And I'm not very sure which congenital anomaly is the problem here. So I would like to know about that.
Okay, thank you. You also mentioned in your initial description saying that the right side anterior axillary fold, both sides, appears normal.
Yes, sir.
Is that very classic of Poland syndrome?
Usually it will be a horizontal one on the side where the affected side. But in this patient, in the photograph, it appears normal.
When you say horizontal,
yes,
can you just describe a little bit more? What is the most typical presentation of Poland syndrome?
So the sternocostal head of the pectoralis major is usually absent. So instead of a slanting downward anterior axillary line, it will be much more higher up and it will be more horizontal because only the clavicular head, the clavicular fibers are inserting onto the humerus.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yes.
Okay. So with that background, do you go with the Poland syndrome in this case, or would you go with amastia or hypoplasia?
So my first diagnosis would be a hypoplastic breast and then amastia, but because I was asked to present as a Poland syndrome,
That's okay.
this is the
That's
discussion.
okay.
Yes.
So fair point. Fair point. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Any other finding you would like in cases of Poland syndrome at the neck? You described about lymphadenopathy, but if it
Yes.
was Poland syndrome, what else would you look for at the neck?
Ma'am, the infraclavicular hollowness.
No, neck. Yeah, that is right.
Yes.
Sometimes there is a lump at the base of the neck and it is called Sprengel shoulder.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. That is hypoplastic scapula.
No, in case of Poland, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Not in this case, but
Yes, ma'am.
sometimes in Poland you can find that. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Please proceed.
I think the infectory findings I've already described, so I'd like to go directly to palpation. In the palpation, yes, sir.
Which side is commonly involved in Poland syndrome? Most often, most of the studies.
Right side, sir.
So could you just use that guess to call it as Poland syndrome?
So, but the other features are not very.
Yeah, of course. You
Yes.
cannot have all the other features.
Yes.
In male children also, you don't get all the other features. Also, sometimes there may be abnormalities of the metacarpals, and along with that, chest wall muscle may be absent a little bit, not
Yes.
very pronounced also. Okay.
Yes.
We have also put a case. I don't know whether that case is there or not. There is a male Poland syndrome also I have put in. I don't know. I think you have not been shown in that. I think probably at the end of the thing, probably I'll ask them to put it on. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dr. Likita,
Yes, sir.
because you're proceeding really quickly towards investigation side of that,
Yes, sir.
now that we have talked a little bit about Poland's, do you want to explain a little bit more about Poland's? You talked about the sternocostal head may be absent.
Yes,
What other structures can be absent in a Poland? What other structures can be affected?
The pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, latissimus dorsi might be absent also. There can be symbrachydactyly. There can also be cleft palate. These are the common features. So the others could be, there can be, the other truncal muscles might also be hypoplastic. So,
is that necessary to examine the latissimus dorsi in a suspected case of Poland?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Sure. There is an association that the latissimus dorsi might be hypoplastic, and that because we want for the reconstruction, latissimus dorsi is the most common muscle that we use.
Good.
So we definitely need to know about it.
Obviously, you'll come into the investigation part of it, so we'll wait until then. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Coming to the palpation, I would like to know the overlying skin thickness, then the pectoral muscles, the latissimus dorsi, and other truncal muscles. I would also like to examine for the rib cage. There might be absence of one or two ribs, specifically the second to the fourth ribs are usually absent. And the examination of the nipple areola complex, I would like to see for any retracted nipple and also the hypoplastic nipple. Examination of the hand is important usually because there is syndactyly or symbrachydactyly associated. The lymph node palpation also I would like to know, and to rule out other associated anomalies, I would also like to examine for the facial nerve, specifically the seventh nerve, which might be associated in Mobius syndrome. The external genitalia and secondary sexual characteristics also I would like to examine because I want to rule out intersex or any other congenital anomalies. Then for completion, I would also like to do the percussion and auscultation. In auscultation, one important thing I would like to know is the heart sounds because there might be associated dextrocardia in Poland syndrome. This I've already examined. And then coming to the investigation. Shall I proceed?
Yes.
In investigations, the X-ray of the chest, both for the
Dr.
rib cage.
Likita,
Yes, sir.
sorry to bother you. Any other differential diagnosis which you can think of, or any syndromic form of thing apart from that?
Sir, Mobius syndrome and Poland.
No. Pertaining to the chest only.
Sir, I'm not very sure, sir.
Whether diabetes is associated with this kind of issues.
So there can be atrophy, but young female with.
Yes. What is it called as?
Sir, I'm not very sure.
There may be other features of masculinization, hyperandrogenism, and
Yes.
diabetes. With that, along with that, you will have atrophy of the fatty tissue also.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is one of the differential diagnosis, but you just have to bear in mind. Okay.
Yes.
If it is bilateral, probably because now the other side is breast is well developed,
Well
so
developed.
you can't think about it. Okay.
Yes. So coming to the investigations, the chest X-ray for the any rib anomalies and for dextrocardia, X-ray hand for symbrachydactyly, MRI to assess the muscle status and also the breast tissue status if any breast tissue is still present, and complete hemogram including the differential leukocyte count because there is association of Hodgkin's lymphoma and the leukemias, 2D echo for again the valvular heart disease and chromosomal analysis for syndromic to evaluate the syndromes. My
Would you consider CT scan at all?
Sir, if in this patient, not really. Only if there is a pectus excavatum in that patient, I would like to get a CT scan, sir.
Okay. Let's say if you have a chest wall deformity, not in this patient, along with Poland, could you do
Yes.
anything through CT that will be helpful for your treatment option or considering a treatment option? With the,
Sure. Yes.
with the advancement in CT, in the technology, imaging technology, can you get some more information about the chest wall deformity?
So we will know obviously the ribs and the sternum, how much of it is anomalous. So based on that, we can plan.
You could ask for a 3D CT composite that will give you a contour deformity in a figurative way, which in some cases can be utilized for customization of implant-based reconstruction for chest wall, isn't it? So if you find any chest wall deformity, it may be worth considering CT and a 3D CT composite.
Yes.
Yeah, not in this case. You're right, not in this case. I agree.
Yes. So,
okay. Dr. Likita, you will go back a little bit on the basis of this still being a Poland syndrome. Could
yes.
you tell me what is the reason? What is the etiology, pathophysiology, whatever it is, what develops, what leads to Poland syndrome?
So there is no one, they were not able to pinpoint the cause, but majority accept that there was a developmental arrest of the subclavian artery, usually in the 6th week. So that leads to the various developmental anomalies that is seen in the upper limb and the chest wall.
And you heard both me and Dr. Bave were discussing it. Where is it common? Is it common in men or women?
So males, men.
Any particular ratio?
So it is about 3:1 male to female ratio.
But Dr. Bave was saying that we don't get to see many men coming for treatment. So what to say, let's say, for example, if a man or a male patient coming in versus a female patient coming in, what are likely to be changes in their presenting complaints and their expectations?
Sure, men, I think it's more about the contour of the pectoralis major, especially if they work out more or if they have a good chisel chest wall. So in those patients, they would want to enhance the chest wall and so they come. But females, it is for the breast more commonly rather than the pectoralis muscle.
Okay, thank you.
Coming to my plan, For the breast deformities, I would like to first do the affected breast reconstruction and the nipple areola complex reconstruction later on. And depending on the symmetry, if the patient wants the opposite breast to be operated upon, then we can plan for a secondary stage opposite breast reconstruction. So for the this side breast, so in this patient, it appears that the skin thickness above overlying skin thickness is good enough. So if it is more than 2 centimeters, then we can directly put in a tissue expander and exchange it with a permanent implant at 17 to 18 years of age. If at all the skin thickness is less and the LD muscle is available, then I would like to use the LD muscle with an expander and later on the implant. If the LD muscle is hypoplastic, then I would like to discuss the other options with her. If in this patient, we can still plan for a gluteal artery perforator flap after examining the back. And the other option I would like to give her would be a lipo augmentation, fat grafting.
In a lady, let's say in this patient, if you're going
Yes,
for a lipofilling,
yes, sir.
you have seen her body from kind of clavicle to the umbilicus area.
Yes, sir.
You think you will have enough fat available for her to create a breast that matches the contralateral side?
No, sir. But I would still like to examine for the thighs, and we will require to do it in multiple sittings. We'll not be able to do in a single sitting. So, but abdomen definitely, I don't think it will be possible.
Okay. At maximum, at one sitting, how much of fat transfer can you go up to?
So, it depends on the body contour of the patient, but maybe 200 ml we can still do. I'm not very sure, so that was just a guess.
So for someone like her with a well-shaped breast on the opposite side, you will need how many sittings of fat transfer to give some kind of shape?
I'm not sure, sir.
Be multiple, 4 or 5 times or even more. Yeah.
Yes.
Secondly, what about the skin envelope? Would you develop the skin envelope? Fat will fill the volume loss. What about the skin envelope? So how would you increase that with the fat transfer? Need to consider it management plan.
So we use the various external devices for expansion of the skin. Brava can be used.
Okay, sure.
Yes.
Okay, let's go with your plan.
So the secondary after the breast reconstruction, I'm expecting the nipple areola complex to get more deviated and upward, to go more laterally and upward. So I would plan for a free nipple graft. For the increasing the size of the areola, I could go ahead with a split skin graft or tattooing, whichever the patient prefers.
Okay.
And coming to the operative techniques, I've just written about the pedicle latissimus dorsi muscle flap with the tissue expander. Can I go ahead with that, or we'll discuss?
Dr. Boy, should we continue with that particular option, or?
Actually, one thing I would like to add in fat transfer, what are the constraints in using Brava? I would like to ask her, and any other option to facilitate fat transfer with a better take. Secondly, what is the usual amount of loss in a common fat grafting session in breast? These are the questions I would like to ask about lipofilling.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, for the loss, it ranges between 20 to 50% depending on the technique. The second question, the fat grafting has to be done you should always use small aliquots, and they should be in different planes, so the take will be better. And ma'am, Brava.
What are the problems with Brava? Do our patients accept Brava easily, and what are the inhibitions in our scenario?
Ma'am, I am not very sure.
Can you tell me what Brava is? What is used in Brava? Actually, it is a silicone suction
device,
cup, and it has to be worn for
Continuously.
quite long times, over 3 to 6 months, till the skin envelope loosens up. The idea is to loosen up skin and improve the surface area for the fat graft take. It also improves angiogenesis, and it is very difficult for a working patient to use Brava. So actually Dr. James Roy Kanjur is the only plastic surgeon in India who has ever used Brava with a very good result, but only on 1 or 2 patients. Now, what his protocol is that he asks the patients to wear the Brava at night for almost 4 months, and then before the lipofilling session he would admit the patient for 2-3 days, and then uses it continuously for 3 days, and then goes for the fat grafting session. So all this is a little cumbersome for our common patients.
Yes.
I agree with that. I agree
Yeah.
with that. In some cases, therefore, people may feel that they would rather have a tissue expander beneath the skin that you can serially expand to the point that you want to, because they can carry on with their daily life without having a huge impact of having a Brava externally, which is uncomfortable.
Yes.
First of all, it is very uncomfortable for the woman to have a continuous suction on the chest wall. In theory, it's a good option. It is described as a good option. But in practice, there's a big difference how many people will accept it to be tolerant on a daily basis. I agree with you on that. The one other thing Dr. Bave asked you is what else can be done to
Yes.
increase the uptake of fat transfer?
So we can use autologous platelet-rich plasma, and also the stromal vascular fraction can also be injected, so that it has the stem cells which will help in better angiogenesis and better take of the graft.
Sure. Okay.
Another thing I would like to add is that recently this concept of EVL, that is external vibration lipofilling, has come, in which a power assisted device is used for lipofilling, and the lipoaspirate that is injected is kept a little fluid. So this vibration expands the space and it improves the graft take. So this is coming up in quite a big way now, and we should expect this to facilitate bigger volumes of fat transfer, especially useful in breast and buttock, Brazilian butt lift and the breast.